I am really excited to be here to speak for you today and honored that Dr. Hall asked me, so I just want to say thank you first to everybody that's here that has supported me. I really appreciate it. There have been many great speeches throughout the course of history. Some come to mind, such as Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech, or John F. Kennedy's The Torch Has Been Passed speech, among others. This is not that speech. I'm a little nervous that the speech is being recorded, except that my husband can play it back and remember how awesome I am. Okay. All kidding aside, I do have some things to share with you about my journey here and the significance of why we're all here today. Many people that know me know that I was a teacher for 10 years. Now, I'm not going to flick the lights on and off or hold up 2 fingers so that you'll listen, but I hope that I can say something meaningful that will stay with you. Deciding to change your career at 39 really makes you question your prior life choices and future goals. Although our expectation as a society is that we'll all figure out exactly what we want to do, who we want to be, when we're 18 or 19 years old, that's not really a fair assumption. We don't know ourselves well enough at that point to clearly understand what our future will hold. I knew that I wanted to be a teacher in the 6th grade when I had an amazingly awesome English teacher named Miss Bunn. I still want to look like her and be like her. However, I didn't fully understand who I would ultimately end up teaching, or that my studied content would end up straying far from English literature. As we all prepare to shift into this new role, one that paves the way for teaching our community how to utilize medications to bolster health and wellness, it's paramount that we stop to thank everyone that supported us along the way. We're all different. Many of us in different stages of life, some with others depending on our success, like me, and some just starting to build a foundation for the future. Before I give you a little insight into my personal journey, I want to start by thanking each of you, our faculty, staff, and donors present here today, that have willingly sacrificed to help prepare, foster, and financially support our understanding and love of pharmacy, thereby not only giving us hope as up-and-coming practitioners, but allowing hope to bloom in those that will need us as we move forward in our field. Without all of you, there would be none of us. Helping us be ready to push pharmacy forward and impact the world of healthcare is an amazing contribution. So thank you. We appreciate all of you. I believe there are 3 pivotal periods of time in my life that have put me here at the precipice of graduation and a new career. I first began to feel overwhelmed by medications when I started trying to have children after I was married at 33 years old. Already geriatric at that point, I thought childbirth and raising children would be a simple process, heartwarming and magical in nature. To most of you that have children, you understand that's not a realistic expectation. However, I was unaware that before any magic or joy, my husband and I would suffer great loss and pain. We would experience 4 miscarriages and spend a year in the company of an amazing fertility doctor that would ultimately perform a surgery that would allow us to maintain pregnancy. I took a lot of medications during this time. Some I can't even remember now, but I do remember feeling overwhelmed because no one sat down with us to explain what would happen or how the medications would affect me. When we were able to hold our first girl 3 years later, I experienced that great joy I had hoped for. But I also had a lingering goal of never wanting another woman to feel as uninformed and overwhelmed as I had felt. After the birth of our 3rd child, 9 months before officially beginning pharmacy school at MUSC, I continued to feel the underlying current of that goal carrying me into my P1 year. The second period responsible for shifting my focus in life was watching the quick decline of my maternal grandmother. Always feisty and independent, she was literally my pen pal throughout middle school, high school, college, and beyond. She always spoke her mind and was a powerful example of a woman who paved her own way and led her family with faith and grace. After her 2nd knee replacement, she began to fall victim to what I can now identify as polypharmacy. She had continually been prescribed more medications, most likely tying to a side effect from a previously prescribed medication that probably could have been deprescribed if analyzed correctly. About a year before her death, she was on so many medications that they had to be carried to her on a TV tray. She was unable to care for herself in any capacity and relied solely on my mother and her sisters for her day-to-day needs. Her quality of life declined to the point that I'm sure she had no idea what she was taking or why she was taking it. I believe her girls also wondered what she was taking and why, but weren't sure who to ask or consult, as she had about 5 physicians and received medications through multiple pharmacies. Again, I was struck with the thought that no one should feel so consumed by their therapies. Everyone should have someone they trust in healthcare. The final pivotal experience has confirmed that I'm right where I'm supposed to be. It's ongoing and difficult, but not without hope because of the knowledge that I've gained from classes and through rotation experiences. Last year, my father was diagnosed with prostate cancer. I was able to stand by his side and help him walk through treatment options, albeit with more confidence for his benefit than what I was actually feeling. He opted to have surgery, recovered quickly, and everything seemed to be resolved. However, earlier this month, his oncologist found microcancer cells remaining. He begins radiation next week. I feel fortunate that I can research and help him through this process, lending support as both a future pharmacist and his daughter. Now, you may be asking, why talk about these experiences in such great detail? How do these moments in time relate to scholarship, which is why we're here today? These uncertain times in my life would be insurmountable without the aid scholarships provide. I wouldn't be able to see how to help prevent others from feeling medically overwhelmed and alone, and I wouldn't be able to somewhat confidently walk with my dad through his battle with cancer. It would be harder. Not only would school be more expensive, making the acquisition of knowledge more difficult, but every step of my journey would have felt heavier with the added financial burden on my husband as sole provider, or on my kids that aren't quite old enough to understand the financial stresses that parents face. Most importantly, I'm just a minuscule part of the equation. The money that's given, that you all give, supports students from the youngest of us who flourished in early college to those trying to redirect their lives after a first career, family break, or hard-fought associate's or undergraduate degree. Added help holds us up when we feel inadequate, or dare I say, like poor students. It encourages us when we wonder if we've made the right decision, or when we've allotted one breakdown per semester that we're in the middle of. It's a light illuminating our common goal of community service and healthcare. It's a foundational lesson taught to us by those who have walked this path before us, enabling us to move forward and continue to teach those around us valuable lessons that will enable them to live healthy lives. You've not simply given money. You've given support, education, relief from burdens, and hope. And for that and more, we thank you for sacrificing, giving, and caring about each and every one of us. And finally, I want to challenge every one of us who has received a scholarship to be good stewards of this opportunity and to pay the investment forward, so that no matter which path you take in pharmacy, we all play a part in growing the impact that MUSC has on patients for decades to come. Thank you.